Welcome everybody back to the channel. It is your one and only friend. Yes, drop gems. We're gonna drop another gem. Guess what? We're dropping it on Tom Cruise here. And in Vanilla Sky 2001. Guys, 2001. I wish I was alive in 2000. Well, I was alive in 2001. I mean, I wish I was, focused on Mr. Tommy Cruise here a little more in 2001. Because boy, oh boy, what a fucking movie we got in this awesome fucking movie Rant. If you haven't seen this movie, spoilers ahead, you know that shit. If you haven't seen this motherfucking movie, go see it right now and then come back. That's what you gotta do. This movie's worth every minute of 2 hours and 16 minutes of watch time. And I'm gonna explain my reasons why I like this movie and what I got out of this movie, how I interpreted this movie when we go through the plot. If you don't like it, then fuck off and that's it. Tell me how you interpreted the movie. That's all. Tell me. Just leave a comment, man. Fucking tell me. I'll read that shit. Alright. Tom Cruise here stars alongside Cameron Diaz, Jason Lee there, of course, you know him from Earl, and other great comedies, blah, blah, and Jason Lee, whatever the fuck, and you got an all-star cast. Penelope Cruz, of course, is in that. Plays Tom Cruise. David Ames, he plays David Ames, Mr. Cruise, and he plays um, so believable, just so believable that he is this rich millionaire, um, and that's it. Tom Cruise does it. Tom Cruise gets me in my feelings once again, gets me to feel some type of way in this movie, back and forth, back and forth. What a great fucking movie. And I gotta point out, guys, the music in this movie is tremendous, okay? They use it at the right times, at all the right music, at all the right scenes, and you will be trying to look up this soundtrack after watching this movie. You will be watching and listening on YouTube to these great tracks or ordering this soundtrack. It is fucking amazing. And especially the track at the end, that is the Nothing song. Check that out. That is fucking great. And it will rock you. So we're going to this trailer, of course, and you see these scenes here. But I just wanted to give my overall thoughts, like just, like I always do before going through the plot of the movie. I want to, just give my thoughts on the movie and what I thought just naturally. So Tom Cruise, hats off to you. Cameron Crowe, hats off to you. Don't know much about Mr. Crowe here, but man, oh man, did he do a tremendous job with this movie. And yeah, $68 million budget. This movie, most of that's going to Mr. Cruise. And a lot of the scenes here where they cut off New York for a day, it looks like a great scenes. A lot of money there. So and it made $200 million. So a huge success for Mr. Cruise and Mr. Crowe, which it should be. This movie is deep. This movie is it's so deep. This movie, but it keep us level. It keeps us there on the playing field that we understand what's happening to Mr. Cruise. We can keep up with him. We can feel for him constantly in this movie. And yeah, let's get fucking to it. So it's so fucking worth it to get to it. Anyways, we right off the bat we meet up with David Ames. All right, and he owns this large publishing company that he got from his father. It was inherited to him, passed down to him by his parents who passed away in a car crash. So Mr. Ames wakes up right away out of a dream, and you see this, and he wakes up and he does this thing like he normally would do every day. He goes out to his car. New York is empty, so here that he's kind of in a dream state. So he does this thing and he dreams and he wakes up out of the dream. So it's just all just a dream, and he's got his Cameron Diaz over there, his chick over there, and she's in the bed and they're just sleeping together. They're just fuck buddies, quote unquote. And she doesn't really feel that, and you can tell that a little bit because by the conversation. And he's out of there. He's got to go to work. So he says, hey, help yourself, Cameron. Say whatever you want, Miss Diaz. I'm out. So she's like, yo, you gonna call me? He's like, hey, yeah, sure, basically, and that's the part where you're like, okay, this fucking guy, man, So he flies out and he goes to work, and you can tell he doesn't really care. Like, he cares about his job, but he doesn't. He just doesn't care. He's kind of like things will take care of themselves. I'm just gonna live my life, blow like a feather in the wind type shit, and everything's gonna be fine. Definitely not the way to go about things, is it? So he is just flying through his life, just cruising. Tom Cruise cruising through David Ames's life. And it's not, he's cruising so much that he doesn't recognize things that's happening around him, that he doesn't recognize that when he's riding Mr. Cruise and cruising around in his fast car here, he's got a lot of whiplash, as he speeds by. A lot of people are getting whiplash by him, and getting hurt by him and his actions and his lack of actions, or his lack of empathy, his lack of sympathy, his lack of, care. He just sees to use people as they're convenient or see fit as he wants, because that's what he's used to. As you see his best friend here as well, he just convenience, And as soon as you inconvenience Mr. David Ames here, he wants you out of his life. So that's what he does with Miss Diaz here. But let's skip to that. There's a party here, as you see in the trailer. There's a party going on, and at this party, Mr. Ames, his best friend, brings over Penelope Cruz, and you meet Penelope, and she's vibrant, she's beautiful, she's spunky, she's got a great attitude, a great personality. Mr. David Ames is attracted to her immediately, and it's love at first sight. And they, all this time, you see Miss Diaz looking over, just staring at them, and just, man, she's just jealous as fuck. And do I feel bad for David Ames that he can't choose? No, I don't. Look at that. So whatever, it's a hard fucking choice, isn't it? And David Ames, anyways, is smitten with Miss Penelope Cruz, and they go into anyways, this whole, they go back to her house, and he doesn't get laid or anything. He wants to, but then it doesn't, because he thinks it's real love. So does she. So there's a kiss. It's magnetic. There's a great scene where he's drawing her. He's drawing her, what they see in each other, and it's a great little thing. He fucking scores. This man's got the Mac 10 game, and he lays it down hard, but he doesn't lay the pipe. So he leaves, and as he comes out to his car, Miss Diaz rolls up in her car, and she was stalking him all night, out there all night waiting for him to come out. And she's like, "What'd you do? Bang?" Trying to sarcastically joke with him about it, and he's not having it. He doesn't want her to know his personal business or anything like that. He wants to get rid of her. But she's like, "Listen, get in the car, man. We'll do it one more time for the last goodbye. We'll make it wild, make it worth it." And he thinks, and you see this moment. This is the moment, and this is always happens to probably each and every one of us. That moment where the choice you're going to make is going to affect you for the rest of your life. And this is the choice he made for some putang. He jumped in the car. He wanted the putang, and it changed his life, as we're going to see. Miss Diaz has got other plans for David Ames, and that it doesn't involve anything good. I'll tell you that. So they speed off in her car. She's telling him and ranting. Here we go, baby. Awesome rant on him about how bad she loves him, and that he's not reciprocating. He never will love her. And that's it. The end of the line for her. And what a scene, man. Just what a scene when she's going to drive this car and commit suicide with him in the car. Basically a murder-suicide here. And she starts putting down the gas. And wow, what a scene. And the car crashes. There's no doubt about it. I don't want to give too much details. I want you guys to see this fucking movie. Anyways, the car crashes. Boom, you jump ahead. This man's face has been fucking... You can't reconstruct his face. That's how bad his face was mauled and demolished in this car crash by this woman. This Miss Diaz died in the crash. But Mr. Cruz here, Mr. David Ames, is alive. But he wants to be dead. Just because his face is mangled and mashed. Look at this shit. Where's he at? There he is. And it's not even that bad, guys. But, to him, to David Ames, his looks were everything. You couldn't buy looks. That's the problem here. David, he knew that. Like, he knew that his looks was the only thing that he couldn't buy. His money couldn't buy. And they got fucked, man. So you follow David Ames now as he tries to come back to his regular life, to his old life, because of this crash and the trauma mentally, too, and emotionally. He lost Penelope. He never saw her again. He's lost the will to work anymore or to do anything. He's just lost everything because he lost his face. Yeah, he lost what he had. He can never replace it. And, the doctors can't do anything for him. And he's telling them, "I got all this money, motherfucker. Help me, make something up, do something." And they're just like, "We can't do anything but give you this mask." And they give him a fucking Myers mask, a Michael Myers mask, basically, to wear around. So he tries it, he wears it, and he tries. I mean, the motherfucker tries. But his friend is like, "Oh, you're not trying. You're just fucking around, You should take it off, take it off." And he wants them all to take it off. Anyways, because here's the deal. David thinks that he can get his happiness back, and he thinks that Penelope's out there somewhere still, and that love at first sight, that night that they shared, that even though he went through this crash and his face is mangled, that this woman would love him for who he is, that he would find true love, that this woman loved him for him. So he wants to go find her. So he goes to find her, but he doesn't have the balls, he doesn't have the guts anymore like he used to, because his face. So he's just so, and everyone knows that. Like when you go out and get a pimple on your face and you got to go out and talk to people, it's fucked up, man. And you're just like, so you don't even want to do it. So give credit to David Ames for even wearing the mask and trying. I mean, fucking A, man. So everybody knows that feeling. And you just hope that the person comes back and says the things you want them to say, the things you dreamed of them to say to you. And that's what David Ames does. He goes to find Penelope, and he talks to her, and he wants to see what she's going to say. She's going to say the things from my dreams. And she kind of does, she's being nice about it. But yeah, they go out to the club like I mentioned, and they have, the mask, and he's wearing the mask with his friends, and his friends tell him, take it off, take it off, take it off. So he takes it off, and he tries, and it's a funny scene, honestly, because Tom Cruise in this scene is just very funny, and I like that, though. It's serious but funny. So, Mr. Cruise, hats off to you for this club scene. And as he gets out of the club, his friend leaves him. Apparently, Tom Cruise might have seen his friend kiss Penelope Cruz, but it's not really specified. It's not really concrete, but we see Tom Cruise after this club night, just passed out drunk. He is lit up, boys. He is trashed. He's done. So he falls asleep on the concrete. He wakes up the next day. Guess who is in front of him? Yep, it is Penelope Cruz. She brings him up out of his stupor, brings him up out of his shit crash, and says, listen, man, get your shit together. We can be together. I love you. It doesn't matter about your face. She says everything that he dreamed that she would say to him. Finally, she says it, and it's really there. So Mr. David Ames is back. Even though his life isn't like it used to be, and either's his body, he's all right as long as he's got Penelope. So he gets Penelope. They start to live together. He's living his dream with her finally, and it's amazing, And the doctors all of a sudden magically come out to him and say, "Hey, listen, we got surgery here. We came up with this new surgery to fix your fucking face." And he's like, "Oh shit, yeah!" So you see the surgery done, and you see how Penelope helps him to overcome his post-surgery trauma here, and he allows the surgery successful. Mr. Cruz's face is fixed. He's coming back. He's back. And everything is like it should be. That little detour with Miss Diaz didn't, right? It was just all for the better, wasn't it? No, because Mr. Cruz, Mr. David Ames, starts seeing and hearing shit. He starts hearing and seeing shit that's not there. That's not supposed to be there. And he's seeing this guy, this like scientist guy, this professor guy talking to him once in a while. And he's like, what the fuck? Is anyone seeing this? And he's looking around. No. And he's seeing a couple other things in real life, in his own life, and his friends and Penelope. He's seeing these things that are strange and they're bothering him. He's like, what the fuck? It feels like someone's watching Mr. David Ames. But this whole time, guys, I didn't explain to you, see, that he is telling us his life, telling us his story, and because he's in jail. Mr. Kurt Russell here is interviewing him in jail. So Tom Cruise is in jail for murder of Penelope Cruz. See, we're getting to that point here in the story. So I wanted to tell you that in this movie. So this whole time I'm telling you about Mr. Cruz here, Mr. David Ames. He's actually in jail telling us what I'm telling you, because he's in jail for murder of Penelope Cruz. And the reason why he murders her is because, like I just told you, he's been seeing these things and hearing these things and things that aren't there. So he goes to Penelope Cruz one day after an altercation with her. He's been arrested for abusing her, for spazzing out, after seeing these things and beating her. So he gets out of jail from it, and he's like, what the fuck? He says it wasn't Penelope, it was Miss Diaz, of course. He's seeing Miss Diaz. That's the thing. He's seeing that crazy ex, that fuck buddy, come back into his mind and stalk him basically again and appear as Miss Cruz. And, he can't tell the difference between Miss Cruz and Miss Diaz, and it's all fucked up in his head. He goes to Miss Cruz to tell her how much he loves her and that he's all fucked up in the head. They end up... Now, this scene's intense, man. Like, he ends up making love to her in a very intense way, and this is where he murders her. So he murders Mrs. Cruz by accident, really, thinking it's Miss Diaz, because his mind has been altered, or it's just fucked up. There's shit going on, and he gets the fuck out of there after doing that and realizing what he's done. He gets the hell out of there, hightails out of there. And then it leads us back to the prison, where he's locked up, talking to Mr. Kurt Russell. Can't believe even Kurt Russell's in this movie, guys. Yeah, he is. So, plays a small part, but good part. Mr. Russell. Props off. Hats off. So anyways, fuck it. Now you come back full circle to where he is in the prison. And, I skipped a lot of shit in this movie, guys, but it's so fucking good. Everything is good. Every second is good. It makes me cry. It makes me think. It makes me want to fall in love. Yes. So, fuck it. let's get to the end of this shit, this awesome movie Rant. Wrap this shit up like I always do. So you get back to the prison here, him and Mr. Russell, David Ames, and David Ames, Mr. Russell wants to help him this whole time, but David didn't tell him anything. David won't show him his face. He's still got the mask on. He thinks his face is Jack still. There's a lot of shit going on with him, and Mr. Russell's like, I'm done. You just got to do what you got to do. So he's leaving, and that's when Mr. David Ames looks at the TV and sees a commercial, and it reminds him of something, deja vu. So he tells Russell, no, he starts banging on the window, no, and he tells him where to go. He's like, all right, go here. I know where to go. I didn't murder Miss Cruz. Somebody made me do this. Somebody's fucking with me. That's what Mr. David Ames is telling Mr. Russell this whole time, that he didn't murder Miss Cruz, that someone was fucking with him. It's hard to explain in words, obviously, but if you watch this movie, it will all come together for you. So anyways, yeah, so basically Mr. Russell wants to help David Ames tell the truth, get over his mental block, because he thinks that David Ames is mentally blocked here because of his face, and that his face is not fucked up behind that mask, and that he's okay. It's just all in his mind. That's what Kurt Russell wants to prove. But Mr. Cruz, David Ames, to prove it's not all in his mind. It's actually a real thing, and this stuff is really happening. So David sees this commercial, which is a company that does these dream things where if you die, they put you in a suspended state, kind of like Ted Williams. Not really, though, but they put you in a suspended state of animation where you're able to still be alive and dream, and dream as your body is suspended in the same state. So maybe thousands of years or 20 years or 50 years later, we could bring him back. We could bring Mr. Cruz back, Mr. David Ames, well, the money he has, of course, bring him back to life. So, because guys, I'm skipping ahead here. So anyways, they get to this place, to this company. They talk to this woman, and they come to find out, Mr. Russell, yes, Mr. Cruz is telling the truth. Mr. Cruz is telling the truth. He's in this dream state here. He signed up with this company. They put him in a lucid dream, and he is stuck in this suspended. This is not real. What's happened to him is not real. Right now is not real. This is not reality he's in. So he freaks out, and he fucking runs, and he goes to this elevator because he wants to get to the room. He wants out of this place. He doesn't know what's happening. He gets out of there. And obviously here's the professor guy, the scientist guy he's been seeing once in a while, comes back into the picture and explains to him what has been happening this whole time. The whole time since he fell asleep on the concrete after the club has all been a lucid dream. It wasn't real. Everything was manufactured for him to be the way he wanted it to be. Because really, Mr. David Ames here is dead. David Ames died. David Ames died. After that club night, Penelope did not come to him and help him. He went home, guys. He went home again and just got more depressed and ended up taking a lot of pills and killing himself. Okay, he killed himself, but before he killed himself, he signed up with this company to be suspended in a state of a lucid dream here. So Mr. Cruz killed himself. He died. And he didn't want to live anymore without Penelope. He didn't want to live reality. He'd rather live the lucid dream, guys, and we all rather do that. So you can't blame David Ames for doing what he did, and wanting to live in that. So the professor here tells him, going up to the roof of this building, what the reality is here and what the truth is. And he explains it to Mr. David Ames. And David Ames comes to the realization that this is all just fake. And it's all fake, and it'll never be the way he wants it to be. No matter how much money he has, how good looking he is, he can't do it. I'm going to cry. And they get to the top of this roof, and Russell's there, and his best friend shows up, and of course Penelope shows up because the professor wants to show him and may have him make a decision. Does he want to stay here with Penelope and his friends and the best life he could ever dream of? Literally ever dream of. Stay here. Or rather go back to reality. Reality. When you dream, guys, at night, you never want to wake up from that dream. Very tough. You always want to go back to sleep and get back in that dream or not wake up at all. So Mr. Cruz has a very tough decision here. David Ames. What will he do? What will he do? And of course, we find out what Mr. David Ames chooses to do. Does he want to wake up from his lucid dream and live in reality of the future and just continue his life like, in reality? Or does he want to stay in this lucid dream with his love of his life and all the great things he could ever want and imagine. So Vanilla Sky, and the Vanilla Sky, of course, is a picture his mother painted, and it's the Vanilla Sky. It's Van Gogh's Vanilla Sky, and she painted it one time, and he's has it ever since. So that's hence Vanilla Sky, and also other references probably I can go into deeper. But fuck that. This has been long enough. This is a movie rant. I hope you guys enjoyed this stupid fucking rant on Vanilla Sky. Watch this movie. You will enjoy it. Peace.